President Biden meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as victims and first responders to the Hamas terror attack. The president pledging full support for Israel and announcing $100 million in humanitarian aid for Gaza. Ines de la Cuetara has our continuing coverage from Jerusalem.
President Biden arriving in Tel Aviv Wednesday, meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, reaffirming America's support for Israel.
We see that support in your steadfast commitment to provide Israel with the tools we need to defend ourselves.
Israel has launched a blistering series of retaliatory airstrikes into Gaza after Hamas terrorists slaughtered more than 1,400 people. More than 3,500 Palestinians have been killed in those Israeli attacks. The IDF now poised for a potential ground invasion, continuing to urge residents in Gaza to head south for their safety.
We keep praying. We sleep every night, fearing that we will never wake up again.
President Biden acknowledging the suffering of the Palestinian people, saying the vast majority are not Hamas. Biden also announcing $100 million in new U.S. funding for humanitarian assistance for both Gaza and the West Bank, including clean water, food, medical care, and other essential needs. Israel saying they will agree to let that aid into southern Gaza.
If Hamas diverts or steals the assistance, they will have demonstrated once again that they have no concern for the welfare of the Palestinian people. And it will end.
But it's an explosion at Al-Ali Baptist Hospital in Gaza that the Palestinian Health Ministry says killed hundreds, that has outraged the Arab and Muslim world. The president saying he grieves for the victims at the hospital.
Palestinian people are suffering greatly as well. We mourn the loss of innocent Palestinian lives.
Palestinian officials claim it was an Israeli airstrike. The IDF is blaming a misfired rocket from another terrorist group, Islamic Jihad. U.S. officials say, based on analysis of overhead imagery, intercepts, and open source information, Israel was not responsible. News of that explosion sparking protests throughout the broader Middle East region. Security forces using tear gas and a water cannon as clashes erupted near the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon. President Biden had been scheduled to meet with the Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas, the Egyptian president, and the King of Jordan in Jordan. But following that hospital explosion, Abbas canceled the meeting, declaring 3 days of mourning. Ines de la Cuetara, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Israelis in Turkey are now evacuating after a warning from the government there. Protests were held around Turkey after the hospital explosion in Gaza. It's deja vu in Washington, where House Republicans tried and failed again to elect Jim Jordan as Speaker of the House. The Ohio Republican losing for a second time in as many days, losing by 22 votes, 2 more than yesterday. The House is now in recess as lawmakers look for a way forward. Jordan says he's not giving up the bid for Speaker. Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar says it's time to move on, nominating Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker again.
The country can't afford more delays and more chaos. 15 days should be enough.
Now, sources tell ABC News Republicans plan to hold a closed-door conference meeting and try to come up with a short-term solution. The suspect in Natalie Holloways' 2005 disappearance in Aruba admitted he killed her as he was sentenced for attempting to extort money from Holloways' mother. Jordan Vandersloot was sentenced to 20 years in prison for extortion and wire fraud. The judge in the case says she considered Vandersloot's confession in her sentencing decision. That confession can't be used against him for anything other than today's sentencing. Holloway went missing during a high school graduation trip with classmates. Vandersloot was questioned but never prosecuted. Holloway's body has never been found.
Thanks to a lot of very smart and dedicated people here, I got the answer I've been searching for the past 18 years. Joran Vandersloot's confession means we have finally reached the end of our never-ending nightmare. And for me, reaching the end of the nightmare, being over, is better than closure.
Vandersloot was also sentenced to 28 years in Peru for the murder of college student Stephanie Flores. These sentences will run concurrently. He will not serve time in the U.S. unless he gets paroled.